So what's going on, YouTube, man? We back with another video. I did a video yesterday, you feel me? And in that video, it was an interview that Officer Tatum did with the friends again. And now we're here to react to that video, man. But you know how we do it. We don't waste no time. Please hit the like, the sub, drop a comment down below. Let's get into it.
Nolan Wells' friends did this new interview with Officer Tatum, and the interview itself was a disaster, in my opinion. The purpose of this new interview from Officer Tatum was for Nolan Wells' friends to garner sympathy from the public. And it actually did the opposite, and you will see why.
I've been called out in public, and I haven't been in public that much. I know my friends have had encounters in public. The threats have been insane from my stepmom and my dad, my mom, just everyone included, like even my brothers and my sisters. And it's just hard. I mean, it's unbelievable. We're like.
And what about the threats to the mother of the deceased boy? We don't care about those. Like, we don't care about those.
This has been taken to and the level where this is at.
When you say you've been called out in public, can you give me an example of like, what do you mean? People are threatening you with weapons? People are, not allowing you, denying you service? Because I heard that Tristan, he went to a corner store and they told him his money is not good there. They wouldn't even let him buy Gatorade.
Yeah.
Are you experiencing things like that or something totally different?
Right. I wouldn't say like that. I think I haven't been denied, anything, but like Tristan, it's hard to hear from a good friend of mine that he's getting denied a Gatorade and a Red Bull before work and having to, like, he calls me and he's like, dude, you won't believe what just happened. He got called out at Walmart. Someone called him out at Walmart and was like asking him all these questions and trying to press him about it. And it's crazy to me. Like, we live in a very tight-knit community, and for people to, push back and say these things when they know what Ocean Springs is like, it's really hard. And I mean, I haven't had many personal encounters, but I know being around the guys and stuff like that, they have, so.
Tristan is the black kid, by the way, who did the interview with Tatum, who went off on the black community, who claimed that the black community has never been good to him. His white side has always been the best to him. He went off on Nolan Wells' mama, went off on Benjamin Crump. Now, by the way, Tristan was somebody nobody knew of. Nobody had a picture of Tristan. Nobody included Tristan in this mess. Tristan inserted himself in this mess by requesting an interview with like NBC or ABC. He's the one that inserted himself in this mess. Tristan did, all right? So the fact that he inserted himself in this mess and now he's claiming victim to me is crazy. But, just one more thing to point out, before we address the actual claims that Tristan was being threatened. Tristan is one of the only black friends, right, in this friend group. And somehow Tristan, who's also being threatened, isn't being represented by the powerhouse Donald Trump attorney. Everybody you see there are being represented by Donald Trump's attorney, right? He's the guy who's filing defamation claims against everybody. Tristan isn't sitting there. Tristan is not being represented by the powerhouse attorney, right? Only the white kids are. This may be Tristan wake-up call, right? Trust me, I would know about wake-up calls, all right? Now, the Tristan situation, do I feel like people are looking at Tristan and really thinking that Tristan has something to do with this? I don't think so. Because for all accounts, Tristan left the island early. Tristan was never on the boat back or to. Tristan literally is not even a part of the situation. Tristan inserted himself because he's a cloud chaser. He was trying to cloud chase. And it looks like he got the attention that he was so desperate.
He was trying to clout chase off their dead brother. This is what I be saying, bro. That man is not your brother, bro. That man is not your brother, bro.
Desperately seeking and craving. So we'll have to ask the local corner store owner, did you kick Tristan out? Did you kick him out of your store because of you believing that he's involved in Nolan Wells' death, or because of the things he said about Nolan Wells' mama, who's a beloved figure in the community, because of the things he said about the black community in Ocean Springs, right? I can almost guarantee you it's probably the latter, not the before, right? Because I don't think anybody thinks that Tristan murdered Nolan Wells, right? Because Tristan, again, was not involved. He's a cloud chaser.
Nuance.
Okay? Now, it doesn't just stop at Tristan. They also told this story of when their life was in danger but the story itself doesn't really add up, and it broke down as they told it.
Or what does that look like when you go out? People threaten you with weapons, or people trying to physically harm you, or people having to be restrained? What kind of engagement is happening when you guys go out?
And this is why I don't like Officer Tatum. Because instead of just asking them, the right interview question would be, how do you guys get treated in the community? Not pushing them towards what you want their answer to be. Like, this is why I don't respect certain things, most of the things that come out
We
of
went
his
to a
mouth, bro. I don't.
restaurant, a couple of buddies of mine, and when we were, I wouldn't say threatening with weapons or anything, but I felt, and I know my friends felt, threat for our lives. I mean, I don't think.
No threats with weapons or anything,
but threatened
he
for their
felt
lives.
threatened for his life. Tell us more. How did you feel threatened for your life?
There was like a fear factor, but at the same time, like it's awkward in public, like I stated, like when we have to talk about these things. But we went to a restaurant and someone came up to me and was like, "Is this you?" And I was kind of like shaken up about it. Well, at first she asked like my name and like all these questions, and I was like, okay, whatever, she's just coming up to talk. Well, then she came up to me again and showed me our first interview and was like, "Are you sure this isn't you?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, that's me, like obviously." And she kind of just, I looked at my buddy and I was like, "Yeah, we're leaving. Like close everything out. Like we're going."
Hold on, bruh. The woman came up and said, "Hey, is this you?" Then she came back and said, "Well, you sure it's not you?" And that right there was the threat that amounted to you feared for your life and you had to run out the place because a woman came up to you and asked you if this was you that did a very public interview. Yo, what are we talking about here, man? This, it gets even more ridiculous when they keep talking. So far, the only quote unquote threat on their life that they received is a woman came up and asked them if this was him that did the interview, multiple interviews with Officer Tatum. And because she asked him, "Is this you?" That right there was a threat that amounted to a threat on his life. But it gets more ridiculous.
Just a question. If you was to do an interview and you felt threatened for your life because of that interview, would you then go back and do 2 more interviews? Just a question. You know what I mean? If your life was that bad or it was just that bad around you in the community and people were just treating you that bad, would you do another interview? Because the interviews aren't helping you. It isn't helping the case in any way. It isn't helping your mom. They're still getting threats. So what's the point of doing an interview? Especially if you fear for your life. Don't do the interview. Yeah.
And I left, and there was an altercation after I left with some of my buddies that weren't involved in this at all. And they told my friends that they were going to kill them and they wanted to fight and all this like crazy stuff. I mean, I wasn't there, but my friends told me this, that what the people were saying to them was like totally just crazy. Like, I mean, there was people like that were, outside of this telling us like, "Hey, you need to leave before something happens because I know what could go down right now. And like, I know that these people are crazy."
He wasn't there. He never heard anybody say that. He never witnessed it. He wasn't there when it took place, but somehow he's repeating it as if it's facts. But here's the thing. The friend that starts speaking directly after him would say he never heard that part of the story before. He never heard that people's lives was threatened before. So, and they both was quote unquote there. They both quote unquote left. So if your friends that were still inside came outside and told y'all, "Hey, they just threatened our life," why is your other friend, right, that's sitting next to you, I think his name is Jackson, why is he telling, like Tatum and everybody, hey, I never heard that part of the story. Come on, bruh. It doesn't make sense whatsoever. And and if you guys were gonna come on air and come on this platform and present these stories or present these people as boogeymen and y'all as like innocent victims, then y'all should have gotten y'all story straight before you guys came on this platform, right? Because so far what we're hearing is no threats was made on your life, but you still ran out the building because she asked you if this was you on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
you claiming your friends told you their life was quote unquote in danger, but you never witnessed it, you never saw it, you never heard it, and your other friend is saying he never heard anything like that.
So I mean, we all felt we were kind of shaken up about that. It was weird because it was our first encounter as a group, and I think it's also like just crazy that people will like look at you in the eye and tell you they'll kill you because they believe you killed your best friend and you have nothing to do with it.
Nolan Wells' best friends is Warren. According to you, Warren, Tristan said he's the best friend. Javon said he's the best friend. And let's just say those other guys that are there are saying that they're the best friend. None of y'all have witnessed, have experienced somebody looking you in your eyes and telling you they're going to murder you. You guys have said that. So which one of the quote unquote best friends did that happen to? So so the guys that were also like in the store or in the restaurant, right? Those guys were also Nolan Wells' best friends. How many best friends do Nolan Wells have, bruh? The entire town is Nolan Wells' best friend.
Yeah,
and
boy.
Morgan and Jax, were you guys there?
Yes, we were there. I didn't hear the part where they said they were going to kill him and stuff, but I did hear whenever she came up to him originally, she was like, "Hey, you have like TikTok or anything like that? Your face looks really familiar." And he was like,
Bro, he told him to his face. I don't know what he's talking about in terms of they said they're going to kill him. I wasn't there. I don't know what he's talking about. But I did, hear the lady come up to him and ask him if this was him on TikTok. Now do you see why people are so suspicious of these dudes? Now you see why people consider these dudes so sketchy? Like, now you see why? Now, for a story where apparently they were all present, there's 5 different variations of this story. 5 different ones. Jax, who was apparently with Warren at the quote-unquote altercation, his description, his reiteration of what took place is completely different from Warren.
"No, I don't have TikTok, anything like that." And she was like, "Oh, okay." And then walked off and then came back with, like you said, the first interview on her phone and showing him. She was like, "So this isn't you. Either you have a doppelganger or this is you." And he was like, "Well, yeah, that's me." And then we got the check and we bounced and we were waiting outside for everybody else to get out of there. And while we're waiting outside is whenever some of our other buddies that aren't even on social media that we were just there with was getting told that other people are going to kill them and all that kind of stuff.
Don't get that confused with people telling the quote-unquote friends that were still left, "We're going to get you." No. Don't get that confused with that. They're about to clarify it up. What actually took place was a bystander or somebody essentially seen the woman come up to him, ask him if this was him. He then got up and jetted out to the store. The bystander noticed what's going on, and the bystander told him, "Hey, you might want to leave, right? Because, these folks in this town, they're not playing. When they see you, they might get y'all." So a bystander told him these things, and they got spooked out and left.
So how did that make you guys feel did you think they were serious? Did you think it was just people trying to make a name for themselves by confronting you in front of others? Like, what was your take on that, Morgan?
I think it was just like, I was in the general area of where one of our buddies was, where this altercation happened.
The one that's currently speaking, he was still present. He was still there when these two was out the restaurant. He was still there. Here is him explaining what exactly took place and how Warren's quote-unquote idea of what took place is completely wrong and is contradictory to what he's about to say. Warren says they told him, "We're going to kill you. We're going to get you." He's about to explain, "Well, I was there and all I heard was this bystander tell them, 'Hey, y'all might want to leave because these people are not playing,'" which is completely different from the narrative that Tatum is trying to push out there.
That's how I know they haven't been seriously interrogated. Because Officer Tatum ain't even interrogating them. He asking them questions that they can answer with ease. And they're stuttering, choking up, making up stories. So if they was actually interrogated, excuse me, if they was actually interrogated, come on now. Come on now.
I actually got into a conversation with a fellow next to me that wasn't even involved, and he told me straight up. He was like, if I was y'all right now, I would leave before y'all get hurt. Y'all need to leave right now. I'm just watching out for y'all and making sure y'all are safe. And I mean, I wouldn't say that those people would have physically done something in that moment, but I think they were playing like almost like a mental game. Like,
he was actually there, and that's entirely different than the original story, which is these monsters was telling us they was gonna get us, they was gonna take our lives, and we had to run up out of there, and our friends got threatened too. He's saying, man, listen, the lady came, man, she asked for, she asked dude if this was him on TikTok or in his interview. That's public, by the way. He got spooked and left. They were sitting there, like one of the other dudes told them, hey, y'all better get up out of here, man, because, these folks in this town don't play. If that's y'all, they're talking about regarding Nolan, man, y'all better leave. That's entirely different, bro. Right? Just entirely different, man. And to further add, right, to their really huge mistake in doing this interview with Tatum, they took some shots at Nolan Wells' mama. Now, my thing is this. If you guys are already hated, if you guys feel like you guys are already being given an unfair chance, do you think it's wise to lie on Nolan Wells' mom? So they go ahead and take some shots at Nolan Wells' mother and accuse her of doing things that she didn't do.
What is it?
How do you think this should have played out? Because I always question in my mind that when I go back, I look at what happened, I look at the initial stories with Nolan, and you guys knew him, right? I didn't know him. I know none of you guys. I just had a chance to meet you guys more recently. But how do you think this should have gone? If you could control the environment, Nolan is found deceased. How do you guys think that this should have been put out to the world?
So first off,
This was the part of the interview that was in my last video. You know what I mean? This small little snippet right here was in my last video.
None of this would ever happen. I wish Nolan could still be here with us today. And I wish that, like I said, none of this would ever happen. Like, I wish that all this could be erased and Nolan could be here tomorrow. I mean, that's more than anything. But other than that, I feel like his mom blasting us on social media from the get-go, saying that he was out there with Warren and another guy. That's where it first started to take off. And then also the fact that she posted a picture of me and Morgan and another guy and Nolan on the boat together, blasting that out there, pushing this narrative, kind of, I guess. I wish that would have never happened either. And I don't think those would have never happened, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have been as viral or gone all over the country at this point. I mean, this is a countrywide news story that is just blown out of proportion.
The post where the mom posted their picture, where they're saying this is an example of the mom pushing a narrative or pushing racism, is a post where the mama is correcting a mistake she made. So at the time, the mama didn't have any pictures of Nolan on the island that day. So she was telling people, somebody told me he had on black swim trunks. Please, if you guys see my son, he has on black swim trunks. She then found out he had on blue swim trunks when she received this picture. So she began to post this picture of Nolan saying, this is what he was wearing on the island that day. If you guys see him, please let me know. Nolan was still missing at the time. He was still missing. This post here says nothing about race. This post does not accuse anybody in this picture of doing anything to Nolan. If you scroll up, the mama goes, this is Nolan. He's been missing. If you guys see him, let me know. Right? She goes up and says, me and my husband has been up for 48 hours. We feel like our body is shutting down. If you guys can contact us, please let me know. Again, these pictures. Here's better pics from July 4th, where she's showing the world, this is what Nolan was wearing. This is what Nolan looked like. This is Nolan Wells. If you find him, please let me know. She didn't know Nolan was dead yet. This was just her saying, yo, my son is missing. If you find him, let me know.
But who is the fourth person in this picture? Because he said Morgan, me, Nolan, and another guy. It's just like they don't want to say all of their names. Is that the Bart? Is that the Bart dude? Is that who that is?
Now, the boys is saying, here's better pics from July 4th. He was wearing blue swim trunks, not black swim trunks. The boys is now saying that this post was her pushing the narrative. That post was her pushing racism. That post was the reason why people began to point their fingers at her, and they would have preferred, or rather, her not post their pictures or her post those pictures. So how is she going to find her son? How is she going to notify her son of... how is she going to notify the public of what her son looked like on that day? Yo, I don't understand. Like, I can understand going off on the content creators or going off on the YouTubers. I don't understand, like, going off on Nolan's mama. I don't understand accusing Nolan's parents of doing anything wrong. All the parents are trying to do is find their son.
Get justice.
Her posting those pictures was not to accuse you guys of anything. They were saying, yo, this is what Nolan was wearing. This is how he looked like. And those were the only pictures she had of him from the island.
That day.
What they're doing to this mom is not okay and is not cool, bruh. Is not cool at all, man. Now, Donald Trump's attorney that's representing him, he stepped in afterwards and he made veiled threats. Now, here's the thing, bruh. If you guys want to be sympathetic figures, you probably don't start off with making veiled threats like, oh, we're coming and it's gonna hurt. All right, son. Like, all right, bruh. All right, man.
What is that supposed to mean, though?
Ed, as an attorney that's representing these boys, I mean, what does that make you feel like? Do you feel like you got a good case here, or what's your perspective in that? Because people are online, and obviously they know who you are. Obviously they know you represented Donald Trump in some pretty high-profile cases. And so now that you've joined, or at least now you...
Again, who you represent can sometimes show a little bit of glimpse into your character. But on the other side, like him, in this case, I think him representing Donald Trump, and then as well as representing them, shows a glimpse into his character. But on the flip side of that, I think some lawyers are just doing a job. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion.
Work for the young men here. You hear them say things like they've been accosted, they've been, threatened online. Does that make your case a greater case, or how do you work within what's happening to these young men?
Well, unfortunately, I wish there was no case. I wish this hadn't happened. But unfortunately, because these things did happen, there is a case, and now there's multiple cases. And I'm going to tell you something. If you're out there and you lied about these guys, you lied about my guys, you lied about Tyler's guys here, if you lied about Morgan, if you lied about Jax, if you lied about Warren, we're going to get you. And you're going to be hauled into court, you're going to be held accountable, and it's going to be very painful. And what I would say to the people who have done that is, now's your chance. If you want to apologize and retract before you find yourself in court, you should probably do that now. Because if you don't do that, once you're in court, now you just can't leave.
What lie was told, though?
You won't be able to get out of it. And we're not going to name names because there's some...
Look at this. Look at this. Look at their faces. Look at their faces, yo.
Out of it. And we're not going to name names because there's some other folks who are doing that, and we want to be better than that. And I want to emphasize this, right? We're not here to guess. We're not here to speculate. We're only going to deal in facts, right? And here's the most important thing, right? We don't know how Nolan Wells died. No one here is saying we know. But what we do know is Morgan, Jax, and Warren had nothing whatsoever to do with Nolan Wells' death. And that's what's important. And unfortunately, because there are people who want to divide a town and come in from the outside and tell people what to think and pit neighbor against neighbor, it compounds the tragedy. It magnifies the tragedy. And I just want to say this. Here's why it's an even bigger tragedy. Because my friends here, Morgan, Jax, and Warren, these guys are not just the finest that Ocean Springs has to offer, finest that Mississippi has to offer. These are the finest young men that America has to offer.
This interview is having an opposite effect. Instead of making them a sympathetic figure, when people hear them say that about Nolan Wells' mom, they're not sympathetic towards anything these kids got going on. Because these kids understand the mama is being hit with false complaints. The mama, like professional review is being bombarded with negative reviews, right, by white supremacists. The mama is getting false complaints.
Y'all see that watch on Flacco wrist? I'm not even a watch man, but that
The nursing board is investigating her, or they closed the investigation, but they started an investigation into it, and that stays on her record. So they understand, right? The mama is being bombarded for simply asking what happened to my son. The mama has not brought up race at all. What happened to my son? And the fact that they are adding to the hate and compiling on the hate on their dead best friend's mama, to me, is just insane. We could take a look at the response from this interview, and it would show it didn't have the intended effect that they wanted it to have. So one person stated, so they can go on interviews and give support, but the mother gets bashed for trying to find her son killer. All right, man, in response to them blaming the mama, right? And like one person says, TMZ is invested in persuading people of those boys' innocence. Nolan was like his brother, but when he was missing, no one had any urgency to look for him or give his parents his phone. She had to rely on Life 360 to locate the phone. Side note, why are they talking to former officer, current content creator Tatum? Body language, they're saying it's off. And one person says, so is it true Nolan's phone was never turned over to the authorities and that allegedly Nolan's mom has his phone? If so, why is she allowed to keep it since he's part of the case? Again, man, it's always the white AVR, right? It's always the white AVI, right? Bro, like, again, miss, they're calling them murderers, which again, I won't go that far until I get to know exactly what happened, but it didn't have the intended effect. It just didn't. It just didn't have the effect they wanted it to have. All right? It just didn't, man. All right? But if you're still watching this video and you want to watch,
man, I'm really sick of them, bro. Like, I cannot wait till we finally get the truth of what happened so the world can finally, you know what I mean, and the parents can finally get some type of closure on this. Because to be honest, the interviews, people getting bashed, you know what I mean, autopsies, all this being public, it ain't doing nothing but hurting Nolan's parents, to be honest, bro. Like, in my opinion, they're not getting no justice. They don't even know what happened to their son. Not even who did it, what happened to him. Can we get that first? Can we at least know what happened? If he drowned, if somebody drowned him, can we at least know what happened? Then we can go to, you know what I mean, who actually did it. But, bro, this case is getting out of hand. It really is. But y'all know how we get here, man. Sad to hear this is going on. It's gonna continue going on, man. We live in America, but don't forget the like button, sub button. Please sub up, y'all. We on the road to 100. I'm trying to hit 1K so I can finally get monetized, but please sub up. Drop a comment down below. We out.